hang the key on a silk ribbon. They say every luxury store sells a story first and the object second. Mine sells time, or at least that's what we tell people who prefer their minutes measured in sapphire, crystal, and steel. I'm Mara's night manager. Yes, that's my name too, Mark, close enough to confuse expensive customers. At a watch boutique where the display cases glow like aquariums and the carpet hushes your sins. We lock the doors at 9, but the real work starts after. Inventory, reconciliations, vault audits, and smoothing the tracks of the day so tomorrow arrives believing in itself. I used to love the quiet of those hours. You can hear the building breathe. You can hear your own. Then Lena started working with us, contracted by the parent group to orchestrate the relaunch of a vintage line, and the nights changed temperature. Lena is my girlfriend of almost 3 years, which makes me sound steadier than I am. She speaks fluent event, texts in hex codes and time slots, and wears a simple gold chain that makes cameras behave. Her job title is PR strategy, but what she really does is make very rich people feel like their taste is a philanthropic act. We were good until the brand brought in Anton Radov as an ambassador. You've seen him, the kind of man who looks like he's been shot in black and white since birth. Former racing driver, now investor, cheekbones that sell seasons. He stepped into the boutique on a Tuesday with a photographer and an apology for being late that sounded like a promise to be early for everything else. When he saw Lena, he smiled in a way that let her keep the credit for causing it. My stomach did a small, controlled spiral, as if it had read a spoiler and decided not to tell me. The boutique has 3 floors, a ground level every photo knows, a mezzanine salon for collectors, and a basement where the vault lives behind a door that weighs more than my first car. Between the mezzanine and the vault there's a short corridor with a mirror at the end. It looks decorative old glass foxed at the corners. It's two-way. Security feeds it to a monitor in the office where one person at a time is supposed to watch for shoplifters we never see. I like that mirror. It reminds me that beauty and surveillance can share a face. The first wrong note arrived the night of a private preview. Lena directed everything like a conductor whose baton is a phone. Champagne without bubbles that die, canapes that pretend to be common until they touch your tongue, lighting set to make brass look like dawn. Anton did his loop, handshakes, a story about Monaco told to a cluster that included 2 men who own parts of countries, laughter calibrated to 62% intimacy. I stood by the staircase pretending to be furniture. Lena brushed my wrist in passing. Her touch said we'll debrief later, which is our code for we need to be honest but please don't explode. At 10, the crowd thinned into drivers and lipsticked air. I walked the mezzanine to count crowns on the display pillows. The collector salon door was ajar. Inside, the glass reflected linen suits and the memory of people. On the low table, 3 watches the value of small churches. On the arm of the velvet sofa, a silk ribbon used to tie the new limited edition presentation boxes. Hanging from the ribbon like a pendant was a key I had never seen. Keys are my religion. The boutique runs on them, physical, digital, behavioral. We log every entry, every exit, every code used to wake the vault. Nobody had issued a new key. I touched it and felt heat. Not from metal, from proximity. Someone had set it down minutes ago. I lifted the ribbon with 2 fingers and tested the key in the salon's small safe, the one for temporary storage during events. It slid, resisted, then yielded with a click that felt like consent. Inside empty trays, my throat tightened. I closed everything and went to the office. On the security monitor, the mirror corridor showed nothing. I rewound 40 minutes. Lena passed once with the caterer. Anton passed twice, alone, hands in his pockets, that particular ease of men who have always been waved through. The second time, he paused in front of the mirror and adjusted his cuff like he was restoring balance to a world. He looked into the glass as if listening to it. Then he left the frame. "Your face," Lena said behind me, soft. "Did you just see a ghost or budget overages?" I swung the chair. She leaned in the doorway with her clipboard against her chest, hair pinned up like the inside of a shell. I held up the ribbon and key. "Where did you get that?" she asked, and the way she said that told me she already knew where I'd found it. "Hanging on the arm of the collector sofa. It opens the temporary safe." She didn't lie, that's not her style. "It was in the archive drawer earlier," she said. "I needed props for the flat lays the photographer insisted on, the old keys against silk, symbolic, you know. Anton asked to see the presentation box again. The ribbon was there, I must have." She stopped. "No one opens that safe without me or you." "Or him," I said, and hated the taste of the pronoun. "He didn't," she said, "because he wouldn't need to." That sentence made a small, cold place behind my sternum. "Explain it to me as if I'm a donor with a vanity problem." She closed the door, set the clipboard down, and came closer. "Anton is here because the board wants the relaunch to look inevitable," she said. "He is leverage. We dress him in our story and he lends us his momentum. In exchange, we let him feel like he's discovering something. It's theater with NDAs." "Does the theater include private scenes?" "If you mean, did I go into a small room with him and breathe in a way that will embarrass us later? No," she said. "If you mean, did I allow him to stand too close because it kept a donation from walking? Yes." I watched him look into the security mirror like it owed him truth. "He looks at everything that way," she said. "I don't want to fight with you in a room with cameras." "Then come home with me and fight there," I said. We didn't. We stayed and finished the audit. At midnight she found me by the vault, hands on the steel like I was listening for a heartbeat. "You love this place," she said, "and I love that about you, but it will never love you back. I do." We went home by the quiet streets. In our kitchen she took my jaw with both hands and kissed me slow, thorough, the kind of honesty that doesn't require nouns. When we made love, it was careful first, like we were aligning lenses, and then it was hungry, the kind of hunger that has nothing to do with proof. She slept like a forgiven person. I didn't. The next day was installation day for the window displays, which means chaos disguised as minimalism. I took delivery of a vintage jeweler's bench we'd rented for atmosphere. The delivery guy handed me a clipboard and an envelope. Inside the envelope, two black cards embossed with a logo I recognized as the private club our board pretends not to attend, and a note in a hand that practiced insouciance. "Tonight, after the auction, M." M could be a lot of people. In our orbit, it means the chairman of the board. It could also mean Mara, the brand founder's granddaughter who sits on strategy calls like a flame you can't put out. It didn't mean Lena. She signs her name like she's finishing a sentence, not beginning one. I put the envelope in the safe, logged it, and tried to believe I wasn't building a case against my own house. At 6, the secondary auction at the hotel across the square began. We loaned a timepiece for publicity. Lena was there in a black suit with a pin that aligned all the cameras. Anton was there in a tux that said "I sleep like this." I watched on a small screen we keep under the counter for when we need to feel included without leaving the shop. At 8:42, the watch hammered at a number that made the room clap like they'd solved inequality. At 9, Lena texted, "Come to the club. Bring charm." The club is the kind of place that calls its people members and its problems events. The host knows me because I harvest favors like other men collect watches. He placed us by the mezzanine rail. Below, a bar glowed like a confessional. Lena appeared with a smile I know the wattage of and a drink she didn't want. Anton materialized beside her like a narrative device. Behind them, Mara of the flame hair. She is younger than her money and older than her past. When she sees me, she always says, "Our Mark," because she enjoys the possessive. "Darling," Mara said now, slipping in front of me like a cat that owns stairs. "Come, sit with me. Tell me we did the right thing sending the ribbon to Paris." The ribbon. The silk, the press adored it. They're doing a story called Keys to the Vault. Someone found an old key in the archive. It photographs beautifully. She flicked her gaze to Lena, then to Anton. "We can sell any myth if we give it a spine." Anton lifted his glass at me with the courtesy of men who win by default. "You keep us honest," he said. "I keep us audited," I said. The table talk did that thing good tables do, moved like a well-trained animal from topic to topic, brushing power with its tail. Lena reached under the table and found my knee. The room looked lovely in its lies. Then Anton stood and touched Lena's shoulder with 2 fingers. "1 minute," he murmured, as if it were regulation. They stepped toward the balcony that overlooks the library corner where club members pretend to read. Mara watched my face. She is the only woman I know who can make curiosity look like mercy. "He's an accelerant," she said. "They teach us in school that fire is romantic. It is also hungry." "Is this a warning?" I asked. "This is an invitation to be the story people repeat later," she said. "Can you be that? Or will you be the epilogue?" She left me with that and floated towards someone who deserved it. I stood. I am not proud of what I intended, to walk to the balcony and become a scene. I didn't have to. The balcony came to me. Because on the mezzanine landing at head height hangs a convex mirror, a relic the club keeps because old things make new money feel less guilty. In that mirror I saw them. Lena in 3/4 profile, Anton too close. He said something into the curve of her ear. She closed her eyes, not with surrender but with the discipline of a person counting. When she opened them, she stepped back. It looked small. It felt seismic. She turned, saw me, read me. Without breaking eye contact, she reached up, took the silk ribbon from around her wrist. I hadn't noticed she'd worn it like a charm, and slid it into the breast pocket of my jacket. It felt like a dare and a vow. Back at the table, she took her seat, legs crossing in a signal only I would know. "I'm on your side. Don't make me prove it to men who will enjoy the proof." We finished the night with applause and leftovers of flattery. On the walk home, she took my hand and didn't let go. "You can say it," she said. "I don't know which it is," I said. "Accusation or apology?" "Say both," she said. "We'll edit." "I hate the way he looks at you," I said. "I do too," she said. "And I like the way I look back at him less than I used to." "Did you?" I began. "No," she said. "I let a man stand close to feel my temperature, that's all. It turns out I prefer yours." At home, we didn't undress in stages. We peeled each other like we were late for a flight we refused to miss. On the couch, then the floor, then the edge of the bed because sheets felt ceremonial and we needed savage. She pulled my belt with her teeth like a joke and then made me forget jokes. When it was over, the room smelled like skin and a decision. In the morning, I came in early and pulled the security logs. At 10:16 the previous night, between the auction and the club, the vault corridor registered a door sensor trip, not the vault itself. The anteroom. The monitor showed a silhouette in a hat. The convex mirror gave me a second angle, Mara's profile. She moved with the confidence of someone who doesn't need permission. She placed an envelope in the outbox safe, the one we use to move small valuables to secure courier. She looked up at the mirror and winked. It was not for me. It was for whatever future would watch. At noon, the envelope arrived at the boutique via bonded carrier. Inside, the two black club cards with the neat gold logo and a handwritten note. "We tell stories about doors," it read. "I prefer keys. Return when ready. M." Below the note, the ribbon, the key threaded through it. The key was stamped with a code I recognized, not for our safe, for the mezzanine salon's hidden panel, the one nobody uses because nobody knows it exists except me, the head of security, and apparently Mara. I took Lena to the salon and pressed with the key a small depression under the table's lip. A wooden panel slid to reveal a shallow compartment. Inside, a slim black notebook. Lena lifted it like it might sing. On the first page, Mara's hand. "For Mark, the trustworthy one, and Lena, the weather. When you're ready to stop pretending the mirror is only for thieves." The notebook wasn't a ledger. It was a plan. A residency program using the mezzanine as a rotating gallery for watchmakers who can't afford the myth of our brand, funded by the sale of a single prototype from the founder's archive. It was bold, equitable, and would infuriate every man who enjoys door lists. It would also make Anton irrelevant. "She's giving it to us," Lena said, voice shaking a little. "To run in our names if we want it." "Do we?" I asked. She looked at me the way she looks at light before she tells the photographer to move 2 centimeters. "It would mean telling a different story about this place," she said. "Less velvet, more honesty. And you and me." "More honesty," she said again and reached for my hand. We brought the plan to the Monday meeting. The board did its opera of alarm. Anton objected with charm. Mara listened and said nothing until the end, when she stood and told them a story about her grandfather and a watchmaker who taught him humility by refusing to sell him a piece he hadn't earned. "We will earn this," she said, and that was that. We were appointed co-directors of the residency. The press would love it or not. That wasn't the point. After the meeting, Anton waited by the mirror corridor, hands deep in pockets. He looked almost kind. "She chose you," he said. "She chose the story," I said. He smiled like he forgave me for being correct. "Take care of Lena," he added, as if I'd forgotten. "She likes heat. It can burn." "She prefers light," I said, and the sentence was fewer words than I wanted and exactly the right amount. We keep the ribbon and key in the salon's compartment now, not because we need them, but because reminders help. Sometimes we take them home and thread the key through Lena's fingers while we drink wine on the floor. Sometimes I tie the ribbon loosely around her wrist and she smiles because she knows I like the way silk looks on her skin. On nights when doubt tries to rent a room, we open the compartment, touch the pages of the notebook, and remember the first time we decided to be the story. We didn't become saints. There are still events where Lena has to stand too close to people whose hands have never built anything. There are nights I stare at the convex mirror too long, and my mind starts casting understudies for betrayal. But when that happens, I find her in the corridor where walls listen, and I kiss her there in the unfriendly light, so the part of me that loves proof can see it happening. Last week, after a long day, we stayed late. The boutique empty, the city doing its beautiful indifferent thing. We went to the mezzanine and didn't bother with the sofa. I lifted her onto the display table where the limited editions usually live. She laughed, then bit her lip, then opened for me like she was unlocking like I was. The glass cases reflected us. 1,000 small versions, each true enough to keep. We took our time. We were careful and cruel, forgiving and greedy, the way people are when they've chosen each other and decided to deserve it. When we were done, she reached for the ribbon and tied it around my wrist. "Yours," she said, "not because you keep me, because you kept us." There's a card on the salon wall now with a line I wrote for the residency and Lena made better. It reads, "Not every vault hides wealth. Some hide beginnings." Under it, the mirror watchful, I stand with the key on its silk and think about how we sell time and how time, occasionally, sells us something back. A version of ourselves with the lights on, standing where the story starts, choosing the door and the hand that opens it.